can do.
That's an OBS thing.
We can do this, right? Yeah. Yeah. And we are not live. Just so everyone's aware, we are not live because
because we're not.
Because it's 2.
I'm on tape.
Yeah.
I'm actually the Chat GPT version of myself. The real Phil couldn't be here.
Awesome.
We should
every third word is cats.
We should invite GPT in as a fifth guest and see what they have to say about.
No, that's my win. That's my prize.
Okay.
My writing got so much better.
We could bring Chat GPT up and ask about consultants saying things.
That would.
It won't know anything because it's too old. It stops at 2019.
2021.
Or
so it should have us.
Is it 2021?
Yeah.
It's funny. I reached in and asked it about some things, and it knew some people, but it didn't know other people. And it's funny. I asked about a guy that I think is relatively well known, and I don't know anything about that. And then I asked about his book, and it gave me a synopsis of his book.
Was it Richard?
Okay.
It's all about how you ask.
Well, thank you. I've learned that being married more than once. There's your cold open.
Wisdom from Phil, as always.
Which wife was the best one, Phil? The current one. That's
the current one is always the best. But see, that doesn't really work because this is like the line of when you look at somebody like Wendy and say, "Oh, you look like my fourth wife," and she goes, "Oh, how many times have you been married?" I said 3.
That's great. That's great.
Old joke.
So Chris, I was going to say
from the late 1900s.
Yes.
Chris, you need to make Wendy. The options to highlight a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely need to just give Wendy a quick highlight because.
Oh wait.
Because I have no hat.
John.
That's
how do I?
Hatless.
Testing Chris for a moment.
That's not right. We don't want that. How do I? Wait a second.
Chris, what do you have on? You have some sort of a.
There's a thing next to her in the corner of her that makes it bigger. Do you see the little 2 arrows next to her head?
No, I don't. Oh wait, over there.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Oh,
hello.
All Wendy all the time.
This is how Phil prefers to see Wendy.
This is how I normally see her. Giant head Wendy is what we call her at my house.
Go full
my
screen.
My wife comes in. Who is this person with a giant head? That's Wendy Keane. This is the way she posts all her stuff on. It doesn't matter. It could be a 2-word post on LinkedIn. Giant headshot of Wendy Keane. That's the way.
To be fair, if you've got it, flaunt it. Is what I say.
Can we find that? Let's see if we can find that.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, and you can share screen on this. Actually, any of us can share screen, depending on permissions and crap.
You know how we like having Wendy as part of the podcast crew. I fear this could be the last episode.
This is it. Last time we saw Wendy. Does anybody remember the last time we saw Wendy? It was like that. Yeah.
Post mentioning Wendy, right? That's what it would be. Post mentioning Wendy.
I would love to see. Yeah, I didn't even make this post.
I can't find it. I don't see it. You're not talking about the announcement of her joining the Fast Company executive board, are you, Phil?
No.
I didn't even know that. Should I know that?
Yeah. If you're a good friend of Wendy's, you would have known that.
You would have known that, I would think.
So you should have known that.
Kind of. I'm second tier.
You're not talking about this one, are you? You talking about this one?
No, they get worse. The one Phil, you're talking about the Institute with the book, right?
Oh, it was Institute. Yeah, it was. It does Rudy Toot Toot.
So Chris, I think we've already started with looking for the awards, right? This is the best Wendy Keane post of the year. This is what the current nominate. So we've got a few nominations on screen right now.
We do. What's it called? Business architecture.
Oh no, you guys.
Is that right? What's it called?
It's Business Center Architecture
Center of Excellence?
Institute. It did have the word institute in it.
Oh, the Institute for Digital Transformation is the big head one.
That's what it was.
Or it might have been
for Digital Transformation.
And you know what? It's even an old picture. Someone contacted me. They're like, "Oh, you got a haircut." I'm like, "No, it's just a really old picture that's out there."
Well, that's where I was actually gonna ask you about that because it did look like a really old picture of you.
It's a really old picture. It's
I
not a
I
good
don't know what I'm
picture,
doing.
but
I
yeah.
obviously don't know how to use it. If only I had listened to Richard Bliss. Then I
Should I think I can. Here, let's see. It'll be something I'm tagged in, right? If I go to this. Oh God, here it is. Do I really have to pull this up?
there it is.
There
We
we
found
are.
it. There it is. Is that
Oh
the
my
one?
Look at that.
Look at that.
Is you guys are terrible. This is
I thought that was. I was looking at that and I'm like, she got her hair done. That looks
Yeah.
really good.
yeah, no,
But it's
that's
not.
just
It's
really old. I just don't do my hair anymore.
Just up in a bun, messy bun.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I like that a lot.
Thanks,
I like that a
Phil.
lot.
Thanks a lot, Phil, for calling it out. Really
I'm
appreciate it.
glad. The thing is, it was so much bigger on my screen. Can you not press the little thing and make that bigger? Because that doesn't represent what it looked like on my
All
screen.
right. Oh, it's my screen. I have to make my screen bigger. No, that's not right either. Oh, wait, here it is. Hold on. Well, that's about as big as we can get. Sorry.
Oh,
You'd think
Don't-
you'd be able to
don't-
zoom
for
this
digital
thing.
transformation. Hold on a second. I just think
Don't
we
worry,
can
I'll,
do more here.
Oh wait, I could. But wait a second. Couldn't I just do like a?
There we go.
Bigger. I'm just kidding. This is terrible. You know, after I got this picture taken, I remember saying I'm never going to get my picture taken in the morning again, even though it's
You are underselling yourself. You look professional and lovely.
Yes.
Right.
Cheers.
It was professional. It was just enormous.
It was just annoying.
So, well,
Note
she has
to
to-
self.
she has so much she has to keep in there, right? So, very
So
smart.
this is the winner of the best Wendy Keane photo post on LinkedIn.
So are we saying? So what are we saying? This is what are we saying? This is the winner of what best LinkedIn post by a member of the podcast.
Yeah.
Best LinkedIn appearance.
Because it wasn't my
Oh,
post.
yeah.
It wasn't her post. It was an appearance. Best LinkedIn appearance. Wendy Keane. Yes. And the thing is, I realize now as I look at it, it says the photo is only 600 pixels by 600 pixels, but when on my screen, it was much larger. So objects on LinkedIn posts are larger than they appear.
So, in case anyone is wondering what the hell we're doing, this is Consultants Saying Things. I am Chris Lockhart. I'm joined by Phil Yanoff, Wendy Keane, and Phil Yanoff, and Wendy's giant head.
I'm here twice.
Head.
I'm here twice.
Yeah. And so, why are we doing this? Well, that's always a great question. This is our annual Christmas episode, Christmas special, right, guys? And we've done. We're headed into year 6. How many times does 12 go into 60? Huh. Sorry, I have to. There also might be some imbibing going on at this point.
I can just say that I've been in all of these.
You have not every one. I think there's
All the
one
Christmas.
in season 1 you weren't in.
No, every Christmas episode, right?
And you just didn't join. And I was like, well, I guess.
Oh, maybe.
But no. So this is our annual Christmas special for 2022. In previous years, we've had on guests. We've done various things. I think there was one where Bill Benson played a guitar. So there's it's all kinds of interesting things. We do like year in review. We do all sorts of stuff. This year, the decision was made rather recently to sort of have a. Let me move all these beers since it is 2:30 in the afternoon on a Monday.
Just spare tank right there.
Why it's not coming out live. Should what are you doing? Are you billing the client for this? No, of course not. So we thought we would do awards. Sort of, our view of, most this is superlative, right? like you might see in a yearbook. So that was our first one. Wendy Keene, best LinkedIn post by best LinkedIn appearance by a member of the podcast. So that was fantastic. Very good. I like that a lot. Is that it? We only had one. Anyone else want to go? Yeah.
Well, oh, Oliver, did you have one?
No, go.
I was just going to offer, since we're sharing photos, perhaps a contender for the best photo of the Consultant Saying Things cast of the year.
Best photo of the cast?
Yeah. Could I share a contender?
I think you were able to share, yeah.
Let's see this.
Can we insert a drum? We can do that in post.
Do we have any takers? Phil is always talking about the cats on the ground, and here's us as cats. I'm just saying, thanks to Oliver who found this.
Pretty good. Yeah, I like that. They're ready. Oh, yay!
and thanks to Wendy having some spare time in a hotel room somewhere, putting our labels on.
Yes.
Where was that done, Wendy? In the air or somewhere?
It was done right before takeoff, actually. Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was totally burnt. Couldn't actually respond to any real emails, but I definitely had time to do that. So thanks, Oliver. That was
all right. It's kind of a pre-flight meditation ritual for you now. You're going to have to find a picture of random animals and give them names. That's just going to be how you stay calm on your flight.
I like it.
A lot. What are you drinking, Oliver? What do you got?
I have a nice little Malbec. Yeah. Yeah, so I've gone sophisticated.
Wow.
Cheers. And I thought maybe we should talk about best argument of the year between the CST crew.
Uh-oh. I think I know which one this is.
Should we do the LinkedIn one or the Instagram one?
Whose vote is that?
WhatsApp one too, wasn't there? Yeah, go for it. Do you have it? Do you have it ready to go?
I don't think I have it ready to go, but we can probably find it. It's and it's kind of led to me slightly baiting Chris by every mention of trains I now see on LinkedIn. I have to mention Chris because I know how much he loves to talk about trains on LinkedIn. But yeah, I have to try and. The trouble is, you and I have got so much discussion here on LinkedIn. It's going to be difficult to pull it up, but maybe we'll add it in post. But yeah, I would submit that. Anyone else got any contenders for best social kind of discussion / heated discussion on
discussion?
Huh. Can't top that.
I wouldn't even try. Really.
I do have to say though, I mean, while Oliver's pulling up the best argument, what a speaking of trains, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but I'll just do this real quick here. Oliver, our quasi-state rail system, Amtrak, has a new train. Look at this.
Did I not mention you on this one already? I saw this and I was like, I need to mention Chris. Maybe I didn't get around to doing it.
Oh, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like the Eurostar, sort of. Not really. Not as nice.
Where's it going to go?
Probably nowhere, and probably not very fast. Wherever it goes.
From Cambridge to downtown Boston.
What's crazy though is we do because while he's looking for the post, there was there was an article about France banning short haul flights, right? And, Oliver's response was, good, down with capitalism, tax the rich, eat the rich, right? All that sort of stuff. And my response was instead of banning, short haul flights, what if we could innovate and come up with like electric, engines, right? That aren't powered by, I guess they are electric, but you know my point, right? Exhaust, it's not exhaust. What is it? Emissions free. Electric engines to power, and I know to power airlines, and I know various airlines around the world are experimenting with biofuels and that sort of thing to power aircraft, which somehow then led to a discussion of, how else would you get around? And of course, in Europe, with your amazing train network, right, that's quite easy to get around by train. But I think the argument started because I said, well, but what if I don't want to take the train? And of course, you put on your North American hat. Our trains are, I think the stereotype is a hobo with like a little bag and he's jumping on the freight train, right? That's kind of what our rail network is like, right? With the exception of we do have a high speed train. I think it's called a Acela, right? I think we've talked about this. But my understanding of the maximum speed of the Acela is not attainable using the infrastructure that the Acela actually rides on. So we have, we did part of it. We got the train, got the locomotive. We just didn't get the tracks in place. And I think quite frequently the train is quite slow through New England and whatever, from New York to Boston. I think is actually the slowest. But I could be wrong. That I am from, as you might know, the late 1900s, and so my information might be out of date.
We'll bring in the fact checkers on this after.
Do you have the dang argument yet, Oliver? I mean,
during the editing.
Do you know what? It's funny. I also need tips on LinkedIn. The problem with LinkedIn is it's great for in the moment. You try and find something from a couple of weeks ago. It's an absolute nightmare.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
So I think I found the lady that shared the original post. So I'm now going through her posts to try and find it.
So it's not really a search engine. It's a now engine.
Yeah. That is a great point. That is a great point.
That is a really good point.
We will add it. We will add it in. I will find it for you, and I will
add it. Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, by the way, I think that's really interesting because you make a cultural and a perception point about trains, which is very true. It's really different.
I'm very perceptive culturally, Wendy. I don't know.
But it is. But that's part of my point. Is that's part of what stands in the way. It's like, that. I mean, I remember that too. Like the hobo train. I mean, I don't think that today, but I remember that image because I'm also.
To your point, though, this is actually fascinating. I was going to go there and I forgot all about it. There was a follow up in which also now Oliver's harassing me since we had this. He's tagging me in every post that even casually mentions a train or a rail network or something. And there was one that said something to the effect. It was like, Europeans are great at football. Americans are great at U.S. football, but Europeans are great at trains. Or it was like some non sequitur ridiculous thing. And it was like, pointing to the fact that the train network in Europe is really geared towards passenger transportation. I'm losing my language here. Transporting passengers. So I just did a real quick, because I knew this off the top of my head. I just didn't know the actual numbers. So I just did a quick fact check. And of course, the U.S. rail network is a lot larger, but it's freight geared, right? It's geared for freight. And so while we have more track than everyone else in this, I'm Canadian. Canada doesn't have quite as much, but the United States has, what am I talking about? The US has more rail, but it is geared towards moving freight. So
actually you're probably ahead of us there on freight. But
I think the distances involved and whatnot between major hubs and, all of that stuff, right, that plays into, the short haul flight discussion, right? And, that sort of thing.
But I picked on it because I think it's a great example of how the sustainability thing isn't an easy topic. And like we've obviously covered sustainable consulting. I can't remember if it was this season or previous. I think maybe previous. And it's like, as much as you can come up with technical solutions, it's an emotional human behavior change thing, which is where consulting is like massive, right? It's kind of like getting people to change behaviors and go on a program of change, a journey of change, et cetera, et cetera. So I just think it's, facetiously, I just like tagging you in every single train post I see now, just because, what? It's fine. For shits and giggles. The serious point is the perception and the reality of making shifts. And we're just talking about sort of, choices around commuting and travel. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of these little decisions and mindset shifts that we're going to have to adjust.
Well, and I was thinking about it when we were actually arguing about this publicly, by the way. We probably shouldn't do that again. But I was thinking about this and I'm like, why do I dislike trains so much? I remember as a child taking the Canadian state railway. I don't know if it still is nationalized there, but at the time it was the Canadian National Rail. And my father and I took a train from New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. So 10 points if anyone can find that on a map, where I was born. And we took a train to Toronto. And I think it was because he had this romantic notion of what travel by rail would be like, which it was. It had the dome top and everything, so you could look out. But I don't know if you've ever driven or been near the St. Lawrence River Valley, up that part of Canada. There's not a whole lot to look at, right? So it's just sort of like, okay, there's a field, right? Or got it. Yep, the St. Lawrence is still on the same sides. We're still headed in the right direction. But so I had a good experience on the train. That was a good experience, right? So why don't I like trains now? And in my mind, I was challenging my own perception, because I was like, when you fly, which I was arguing in favor of, right? If we can get emissions down and all that, flight and whatnot, but you're effectively in a train in the air, right? So what? And to your point, Oliver, if you're comparing Eurostar to Ryanair or something, right? Like, there's really no comparison between the experience, right, in the train to the experience in the plane. So why don't I like trains? Open question. I don't know. We'll explore that next year.
Take that one to your therapist. Bring it back.
We're gonna have to cut a lot of that crap out.
Yeah, because I've almost fallen asleep. And I like trains.
What? So, but what I thought was interesting is on the whole thing of the trains, Oliver. You correctly pointed out that you love trains, you like the trains, you like the idea of the trains, but that the UK doesn't have the infrastructure built out quite the way you would want it done, right? So,
oh yeah, it's not perfect. I thought what the French were doing was an interesting sort of signal. Now, whether it's virtue signaling or whether it's a real kind of shift. I mean, the other thing the French did, which was really interesting, is announce that all parking lots in France over a certain size have to have solar panels installed above them. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that story as well. That's a really interesting one that's got a lot of people talking. Anyway, I'll move off the sustainability topic.
You didn't find the...
I've given up.
Okay. All right. Well, so that whole 10 minutes was just for not a build up to nothing.
Brilliant. Sorry, I tried.
All right. Well, I've got one then. I'm gonna give mine here. This is last year we did an episode on memes, if you remember.
Yes.
Right? And I don't recall if we used this one or if it was in footage that we never aired or what. And I apologize in advance. I don't mean to offend anyone in any part of the country. For those of you still listening, let's go here to this meme. I'm going to share it. I think this, for me, is perhaps best consulting meme of the year. So the consulting will provide you an experienced consulting resource to assist in this engagement. And here comes the analyst just sliding on in, right? Like, hey, like that, because what's funny to me about this is it has nothing to do with Theresa May, right? What it has to do with is the undeserved confidence, right, that a lot of young consultants bring to the table, right? And I think we talked about this when we talked to Ian, right, last year about young consultants. And this is my nomination for best consulting meme, because it's timeless. It was probably true when McKinsey was founded 100 years ago, and it's still true now, in my view, right? Which is these folks that come in, they think they know everything. They quickly realize, and they come in with all the confidence of knowing everything, and they know a lot. They're not dummies, right? But they don't have the context, the experience, the knowledge, all of those things. So I find this very funny every time I see it. So that was my. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring British politics into it.
No, I'm no fan of. You
don't have to say that.
Anyway, let's. I have a nomination for, maybe it's not the best consulting meme, but maybe it's a seasonal consulting meme.
Okay.
So, let me. How do I share? Oh, that would help if I actually knew how to use things.
There's a button that says share. I don't know.
I've just figured that one now.
And what is this nomination for, Oliver? Just so I can compare the.
I'm sharing. So,
Oh, you can do this
working?
on the fly. We're going to have the engineers do this on the fly. Yeah.
Is that working? Can you see the
No.
Santa
No.
as a data analyst? Me?
Oh, wait, I have to allow it. Hold on. I permit this. There we go.
You got it?
Got it. You see it?
So
Yeah.
Santa
I like the fact that apparently Santa is in breach of so many privacy laws globally. Just goes to show if anyone giving you anything for free, if anyone giving you anything for free, you're more than happy to let them do whatever. So yeah, I just thought this was quite an amusing.
We'll give this
context where behavior was nice.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. So how about
cute.
this? Oh, hey!
Nice.
Whoa! Look at that.
Don't hurt us.
Holy cow!
It's Phil's all the way down.
It's a
That's the
meme
way I see it.
within a meme.
It's filled all the way down.
Sorry, I probably should have put us back on my other screen. Sorry.
I don't even know how that happened. That was fantastic.
Cool.
It was like
Try
MCS.
it again if you really liked it.
I just like that's a very much a US thing there.
Love that. Look at that. That's
We took the U out of behavior.
All right.
That's pretty good. Phil, what are you drinking, by the way? Philip Vaniano.
Goose Island Bourbon County,
Goose
the
Island
original.
Oh.
It's a beer that's been stored in bourbon barrels, and it's pretty yummy. It's super yummy. And if I drink this whole bottle, you won't understand anything I have to say by the end of it.
Well, maybe we'll understand better.
What does it say?
Can we try?
2022.
I would like to share a Phil story.
14.3% alcohol by volume
Wow.
in a
You're
beer.
on your way, my friend.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas to all and all. Good afternoon.
that's right.
So I don't know which year it was, but we were doing a Christmas episode, and you came on having maybe pre-gamed a little bit with the Jameson.
Seems unlikely, but possible. Let's just say it's possible.
And your nose was red, like already.
Oh,
Do you remember
right.
that one? That was
I'm
fantastic.
sure. It had to be a day when the thing is, I was doing some early event. So I started drinking early, and then we came into this. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm rocking.
It's great.
Awesome.
It can happen.
Awesome.
So Phil, any nominations for anything?
So I have a link, and here's the thing, because I hadn't set this up prior, I can't share my screen because I'd have to exit the call and come back. So I'm going to stick it into yours.
Okay.
And let you share the screen.
Oh, yes. This is great. All right. Yeah. I remember when you sent me this. This is fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know if you can share the screens, but anyway,
Yep.
the big technology of the year is Chat GPT. And this is like the poorest use of Chat GPT, which is, I asked it, what is something nice to say after an unimpressive school band concert?
Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in. Is that better?
It gave me a list. I appreciate the effort that went into preparing for this concert. It takes a lot of practice and dedication to play an instrument, and I admire all the hard work that went into this performance. But anyway, it gave you a list of 3 or 4 different things you could say after a really unimpressive, let's just use the word crappy here in a sentence, school band concert. Now, I will say I didn't have to use it because my kids are in high school now, so the band was much better. But it was kind of fun. But anyway, I've played around with ChatGPT, and this has to be the least impressive or worst use of ChatGPT.
Oh, wait, worst use? I'm sorry, I got to change.
Is it possible that it's the worst use or hackiest use of it? But basically, how to...
Yay!
Yeah, worst use of ChatGPT in 2022. It'll get worse.
I don't know. I'm sure
it's already got
there's some sales. Some people are using it to generate in-mails and spurious emails. But yeah.
Let me just. I think you're absolutely right, Oliver. Let me just go ahead and qualify it further. Worst use of ChatGPT by CST cast member. That's probably truth. Well, actually, I don't know, Oliver, what you've been up to with it, but
best I don't talk about that. Yeah.
He's writing fan fiction for
Can I tell you what something I did that I thought was kind of funny? I don't send out a bunch of Christmas cards, but I sent out a couple of this year. And to a couple of my friends, the interior message of my Christmas card says, I really wanted to write a more personal message, but ChatGPT was down at the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, Oliver's using it to write fan fiction for Downton Abbey, probably something like that, right? Something very British, Agatha Christie. I don't know, whatever.
There's been some really crazy. Like someone said, tell me how to fix my computer using Cockney rhyming slang and stuff. It's just crazy the stuff that people are doing, and amazingly, it just spews it out. The thing that most wowed my daughter the other day was I showed her it, and I said, it can write computer programming code, and she's learning how to use Python. So she said, can you write me a Python program with a robot dancing? And so it generated her the code, and she copied and pasted it in and ran it, and it worked. And she was just blown away by that. Scary.
That's really a nuts use case. And it's amazing that it works, right? I've done a couple of those myself just to see. And so I would say, write Python code to do this or that. And it would like spit out the code and then say, oh, and this is what the output looks like. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But there's, the funny thing about it is like when you ask it to do things in the world, right? It's hit or miss as to whether it's actually right or not. It actually writes something. I'll tell you what it is. It reminds me of like talking to my kids when they were little, and they knew how to take turns. They knew how to answer questions, but they didn't know the truth of anything because they hadn't lived long enough to know, right? So they would just like spit stuff out. And I'm like, I see what you did there. And that is a pattern you witnessed in an adult somewhere, but that is not the right answer.
You're right. It's like a preteen, kind of somewhere around the sort of 13 to 15 maybe year old. But
I mean,
think of how much it's learned. How much has it learned in the past month?
Totally.
And how much will it learn in the next year?
Yeah, no, I think it's. I think it's an amazing tool, and I think what they're doing is fantastic. Part of the reason they're doing this is it's a safety test, where basically one of these guys that the guys that put this together said, let's figure out how people will use this to do harm, and how can we figure out what that's going to look like. Well, and I think that's reasonable.
And possibly also, at what point do you pull the plug? Right.
Mm-hmm. 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 Sure.
Save Sarah Connor.
And the reason I say that is I've been watching Westworld on HBO Max.
No, Ex Machina is mine, right? Is the one is like, holy cow. It's like if you ever needed a cautionary tale, Ex Machina does that perfectly, right?
And for anyone that really wants to be terrified, go follow the r/singularity subreddit on Reddit. It's freaking terrifying.
Chris has already uploaded his intelligence to that particular.
It didn't take much. It was a quick upload.
Yeah. It's one Google Doc. It all fits.
But it's not even updated in time for the dang interview.
Well, you've got no excuses. Chris, you've got no excuse in the future. You can just use ChatGPT to write a podcast script. Right?
Yeah, that's right. We should actually do that. That would be fun.
So can I tell you, Casey Newton said the other day, I heard him say on his podcast that he was using it to write the questions for his podcast guests. Right. So I will just tell you the base questions that we asked Richard Bliss, I wrote in ChatGPT.
I knew it.
I said, give me 10 questions to ask a LinkedIn expert about LinkedIn. And it did it. And then I went through and I was like, these ones I like and these ones I don't. And I just tweaked the rest of them and I just pasted them. I said, because, it didn't have to be right. It just had to be good questions to ask. And of course, he's a pro and did spectacular. And he completely hijacked our questions. But it was the core to get started, right? Yeah. But the thing is, for most people, you need something like that. And having been interviewed, and not like Wendy Keene, but I've been interviewed by a bunch of podcasts.
You're not
and the questions are typically the questions are typically terrible, right? Yeah. I mean, they're just terrible. And I'm just like, I wish ChatGPT had written the questions instead of this person, right?
So on that thread, when we met at Liability Brewing in lovely downtown Greenville, South Carolina, to talk about the Richard Bliss interview. And you said I had thrown out, you said, Chris, I threw out some messages. There's some questions out there in a Google Doc.
Is that what I sound like? Because I know my kids do this all the time too.
No, you don't.
All right,
that was awful. But so, and I had read them, and then remember I told you I was like, I had added my own, and the question I had added was about 4 times as long, had way too many words, and was not succinct. ChatGPT, I can't even speak now. I needed to conduct the show. ChatGPT actually wrote better questions than I did. If you think about it.
Well, I mean, I'm certain I will tell you this, that Chris Lockhart at his best and when he's focused is way better than ChatGPT. The thing is, you can use ChatGPT to throw out crappy things to start with and then just edit it into something that sounds like your voice, right? And so it's like, you know what? I'm not sure what beats I want to hit. Let's just see what beats it hits. Right. It's like, that's kind of okay, but I don't really like the way they said it. And certainly they didn't include the word cats enough. So you go through and you edit the thing and you make it like you. As I've seen, most of the questions that I get asked in the real world are terrible in comparison to ChatGPT, but a really thoughtful person does a much better job. And let me tell you, Seth Godin, I think, said this really well. And he said, if you're writing at the level where ChatGPT writes better than you should find another job.
Shit.
But Chris, you posted that thing about, the thing is, we're just seeing it at the text level. So, I've done a bunch of promo for some events and stuff like that. And I've used those AI tools to create images, stock images for whatever. So, as an example, I said, I want an image of the Parthenon with the sun rising behind it. And we used it. It was perfect. It's yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's what I wanted. And then poof. And I just put graphics over it and did my thing. But it's built into Canva now, right? The AI image generation tool is built into Canva. You can just say, I need a background of this. Boom. It makes one. Actually, it makes 4 and you pick one.
So for worst use of image generating AI,
I know where you're headed with this. I'm almost certain the Phil Yanov AI has got its own idea about where you're headed with this. Yeah, does it involve NFTs or trading cards?
No, it doesn't. No, that would have been better. That would have been better, but that gets a little too political. I'm not going to go there. But I will share this, which I'm going to share it. And then I want to make a comment about it here. So,
Lensa, yeah, amazing,
photorealistic.
Oh my God, Chris, you are a beautiful man. I'm just going to say that's a great picture.
I'd rather have that than whatever.
Lensa. I would say that in real life, but it wouldn't be quite as vigorous. But I'm going to say when I look at this picture, it's pretty vigorous. That's a great photo. It's fantastic.
Wow.
So photorealistic. I don't know.
Wow.
I've never worn a black shirt and a black tie and a black shirt in my life.
It's beautiful.
What I like about this, right, is obviously it's the things we've been talking about, right? The ease in which you can rapidly generate something as part of content creation. I think that makes a lot of sense. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Of course, the danger, as we all know, is at what point does it become indistinguishable from reality? And Oliver and I chatted about this in the premiere episode of Consultants Saying Things Extra Bits. Should look for that. Subscribe and like. And we talked a little bit about that. It obviously everyone's done the Lensa thing, or if you haven't, you probably should. Lensa.ai. It's in the.
It's the only way to get all your photos stored on servers in China.
It's my Twitter. My Twitter is a Lensa photo that was generated.
Yes, I'm ready. Let's
it's fantastic, Oliver.
You could have shared it, Oliver. But
Sorry, after the whole infinity screen thing, I thought maybe I shouldn't.
No, it's a great photo.
It's so much better than real life. Can we just get that? Get that. Get that. Again, a handsome man.
Very handsome.
It's based on a photo. I think I was in Sweden or somewhere at the time. But
so like the photos that I uploaded, I think 10 photos is what you upload to Lensa, right? And not one of them looked like the photo that had generated of me wearing a suit with a pocket square and a black tie. Does this look like a real photo that you submitted, Oliver?
Yeah, I had a photo of me in a suit I like that, and it's just changed the background. I mean, it's obviously straightened out my nose probably. I think what it does is we've moved beyond filters now. All the younger cats on the ground have moved past filters, and they're now all about projected realities of themselves. So this is basically stroking the ego of anyone who uses it by, ironing out the crook in my nose, for example, making my face look more symmetrical, because obviously symmetrical faces are more attractive statistically. So it's easy to.
Is that true?
It's mathematical. Science. Yeah. So it's based on one of my photos. It's just
nice.
I think yours is better though. I think your black shirt is they're
fantastic, right?
But what's crazy is what it does to glasses. So half of my pictures were unusable because it did mad things with my eyes and my glasses.
But that turned out really well. Your Twitter.
Yeah, some of them either turned out really, really well, or they were terrible.
Well, this is also your Instagram photo too.
Yeah. I thought, hey,
it looks great.
I look better as an AI avatar than I do in real life. So let's go with that.
It inspired me to change my picture on Instagram for the first time in like 5 years, and I had to keep uploading photos to try to keep regenerating photos of myself to try to get a decent photo. And they got worse and worse. There was like all sorts of weird, like part of my head was missing. It was like this bizarre, very strange. I don't know.
All my photos on Instagram were taken 30 pounds ago.
No, but I mean that raises an interesting point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is if the thing can de-age, de-weightify. That's not.
It can make all sorts of modifications.
Make your head
things we're not even
large, right?
Well, in real life, right? Yeah. That's my head is this size.
I was talking about Wendy.
I knew that.
I was trying to take the heat away from Wendy, and poof, no.
Thanks, Bill.
Chris wouldn't even let me do
really
it.
Got some. Awesome. You guys are great.
So Wendy, I'm looking forward to seeing your lens of shots, because you're already pretty. So they'll be the best out of all. You'll win the award next year.
I'm gonna feed the big head one in for sure. Let's just see what that one comes out at. That's good.
Do you know what I thought was
Chris,
was interesting about what because I think you put 10 photos in and Lensa gives you like 100 photos out or some crazy thing. And like one of the photos I had like a hoodie, right? And it had like so it was bunched up around the neck. And fully half of my photos, the AI drew some sort of like combat armor. It was strange. I look like an action figure in some of the photos, right? Which is great, but don't get me wrong. But just really, really strange. Like, how did it?
I want to be a bobblehead of myself.
Yes. And why not deep fake yourself?
I already have a problem with that, right? Because I meet people in real life and they always say, "I thought you'd be taller." So, so now it's like, wait a second, your head's kind of small.
Wendy, any other superlatives? What are you drinking, by the way?
I am drinking hotel brewed coffee because.
And where are you right now? Are you at the Ohio State University?
I am across from the medical center, but I am just hanging out in a hotel and kind of got stuck in the U.S. when I tried to get home from Norway.
Come on, Phil.
That is awesome.
That's great.
Phil, you should always be this way. This is outstanding. Just fill the frame. Fill the frame. But I do have a question for you guys.
Oh, wait. Oh, I just got a message. The stream is having connection issues. Oh, well, you're back now. So that was kind of like AI. You just froze and then,
It was, in fact.
But I do have a question for you guys. Do you have a favorite cold open? That's a good one, right?
I have the easiest to remember cold open.
Oh, okay. What's that?
But it was before you guys.
Okay, that's okay.
It was Shashi Sharmali's.
I was going to go with that one too. Hold on. Let's see if I can bring it up.
Ooh.
You need to set this because the audience doesn't even know why we're talking. I get it. Some people just cut up to show to see the beards, but some people, they don't even know why we're talking. What's the presenting? What's the issue we're talking about today? Why does it matter? And maybe it doesn't. I don't know. What do you think, Bill?
And if Shashi pops in the middle of the conversation, so much the better.
Oh my good. Who rubbed the lamp?
This was, I think, yes, I agree with you, Phil. I was going to go there too. But what is yours, Wendy? While I'm messing with this,
Christopher, Ronald, Donald, Lockhart.
Well, I think we just have the cold open right there. Excellent.
Yeah, it's all set. It's all set.
Anyway,
I'm not going to go into my middle names. You think?
no, you're gonna have to now.
He made it up.
You think you were humiliated?
Come on, tell us.
So the Lockharts, one branch of the family, you're married with the McDonalds, right? So for a long time, they were known as the McDonald Lockharts, hyphenated. I had a grandfather. My grandfather was Ronald Lockhart. Ronald Gardner Lockhart. And so Christopher Ronald MacDonald, McDonald, not the Irish, the Scottish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're welcome.
You're telling
You
people
win,
what
Chris.
your kids clowned around with you about that. That's what you're telling us, right?
Chris, you win. You win. And by the way, that's the cold open right there.
Yeah, the thing is, he couldn't even bring himself to say it all together, right? He's like, oh, you have to figure this out on your own.
Oh God, that was good. I almost can't say it without laughing.
100%.
Still my favorite.
there are the Ronald McDonald Lockharts. There they all are. They're back there.
Oh, still my favorite.
Lord Almighty! Could you imagine if your name was McDonald, Ronald McDonald? Like, just, I mean,
Oliver, do you have a favorite?
do you remember?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead,
It's
Oliver.
that
Sorry.
one. It's definitely that one. Yeah.
It's just going to take me a while to find it, Phil, because I don't remember which episode it was, unless anyone.
I don't remember. I thought maybe you had like the clip right at hand. But
Oh yeah, I had it queued up.
Shashi, you know, he was notoriously late for everything that we did. Right, it was always he'd show up at thing and it was super funny, but he would always be late.
Okay. So one more time then with emphasis, with gumption. What is the topic?
I think the beauty of this webcast is talk without being prepared.
That's the beauty.
Yeah, that's the from heart to mouth, no brain.
Oh, that's nice. I'm in the right place.
Yeah. And so he just appeared on the thing one time, and I said, "It's like, oh, it's Shashi." I said, "Rub the lamp, and he'll appear." And poof, and there was Shashi Sharmali pop, everything but a puff of smoke.
And it says, "Here's tasks you've committed to an email or whatever."
Wait a second. Surprise special guest? Oh, no way.
I think we're just going to get his name on a
That's
card
it.
like that. That's it.
I feel like we rubbed
It's
the
already a
lamp.
win. It's already a win.
I feel like we rubbed the lamp and he appeared. There he is.
Look at that. Look at that.
Shashi Shremali. You're on mute, my friend. Sorry, Brent. What were you saying?
Did I save you from these two guys?
They bite really hard. You can't just.
Yeah, no. Listen, I was going to start by saying this, but since we're at that point now, several beverages in, there's so much great content, and I'm so blessed, really, right, to have you guys participate in this. Which, let's be fair, Phil probably started as a vanity project. Might still be.
If we can all say, Chris, you're a handsome man, there'll be like 20 more episodes. Every time we do that, the number of episodes increases.
Well, you need to comment. If I learned anything from Richard Bliss, you got to comment on it. Right? And then,
And comment. Like and comment.
Like and
subscribe and like.
No, but seriously, I mean, because listen, there's so much noise, right? There's so much noise, especially on LinkedIn. I mean, to the point, Oliver, earlier, you were trying to find the argument we had over the trains. Can't find it because there's so much crap flying by.
Yeah.
To be able to have conversations that I find interesting. I don't know if everyone else on the planet finds them interesting, but I find them fascinating, right? And just to be able to reach out to just experts and super smart people, and the best places I've ever worked were always places where you walk into the room. It's the Steve Jobs thing, right? You walk into the room and it's like, holy crap, I am the dumbest bleepity bleep in this room, right? That's the room I want to be in, because if I'm in the room where I think I'm the smartest guy in the room, like, that's not fun at all.
Well, they say that's a sign that you should change jobs, isn't it? If you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you're not learning anything, so you need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or if you get a pink slip.
Yeah. Or you get a pink slip.
Also a sign you should get another job.
Very clear sign.
I mean, what does the sign look like? You're fired. Sorry, I didn't know that might not translate across the pond.
I kind of worked out what you were talking about, but yeah, initially, yeah.
Sure. It's called redundancy, right? Is that what you guys call it? What do you call it? It's not a pink slip. You don't get a pink slip, do you?
We call it getting a P45 over here. That's the joke.
Okay.
P45.
Because it's your end of employment
That is
tax.
so British. Wait, do you not include the word stroke in there somewhere? P45 stroke 3.
I don't think we use the word stroke unless it's in relation to stroking a dog.
I was thinking in the movie Brazil, wasn't it? They always refer to the forms, and the forms had a number, stroke, or slant. Maybe it was slash. That's what it was. There you go. P45/5.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it has some letters and some numbers after a slash. Yeah, part B / syndicate C.
Yeah. Excellent.
There's so much content, and that's, again, right? It's like, not to belabor it, but it's like to be able to talk to people, right, and that are the best or really good at what they do, right, and are just so intelligent and can bring new insights and things I hadn't thought of before, and all that sort of stuff is just a real awesome thing.
It's like every time we hang up, I always think, yeah, this is really a gift, actually, and you guys always make me smarter, and you certainly make me laugh. It is really
that's
something.
all I'm hoping for. That's all. Just a laugh.
That's all I can go for, Wendy, because I don't have the intellectual chops, so I got to go for the laughter.
So, do we have predictions for 2023? Because I'm going to start. I got my prediction for is that Wendy will be in Ohio most of 2023.
In June.
Most of 2023, she'll be in Ohio.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really it's a pretty fit. I mean, she's not at no Days Inn over here. I mean, look at this thing, right? And it's
W something.
Oh, that's right. I'm here for an unknown period of time.
Actually, that doesn't look like I was going to say Starwood. Already dating mine. That doesn't look like a Bonvoy property. That's not the Marriott brand, is it? It looks like maybe maybe you're in the Hilton brand.
Ooh, I'm in a little Hyatt. I am here because
you're on the Hyatt brand.
Oh. Yeah, it's right where I needed to be. But
it's pretty.
Thank you.
So, can you answer what brought you to the Ohio State University? Ohio State University.
Yes, client. Yeah, client down here. I was in the States for conference, clients, events, university, had Christmas with my family in Wisconsin, and this was supposed to be the last stop.
How was that?
Yeah, wonderful. Good. Really good, actually. It was a pre-Christmas, so they'll have Christmas again. But I haven't been here for Christmas for a long time, so it was really actually special. Really special.
Are you going to be there for, what is this thing they're calling it? A bomb cyclone or something? The cold weather that's coming to your part of the world?
Oh, well, I'm hoping to leave on Thursday. Oh, dear. That
Friday?
would be more luck on this trip.
Well, I think it's called a bomb cyclone. It's supposed to come on Friday.
So this is going to bring
wow,
extraordinarily low abnormal temperatures to our part of the world. bill, like in the low to mid teens Fahrenheit, which is about as low as it gets, right? And we might get snow on Christmas or thereabouts or around there. Who knows? That should be
The
interesting.
problem is I'm going to be up there.
Well, this is what I was going to say is I'm supposed to leave tomorrow to go to Akron for a client. And, I'm like, the Wednesday, the dinner's late and that sort of thing. So I'll probably leave Thursday. And Jennifer was like, do you want to be home for Christmas? If only in my dream.
Right.
Like that's basically what it'll be. If you don't get out of there Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, you're going to be stuck.
Oh
You know how that goes, right? For any of the consulting cats out there, right? Anyone that back in the day, in the late 1900s, when we traveled, every day of the week, pre-COVID, for those of you who are paying attention, the travel thing. You know what? I think we should probably do an episode about this if we haven't already. Is the consulting lifestyle as it was, and well, maybe we've already talked about all this, but like the whole idea of like you were super attuned to weather
all the time,
especially on a Thursday, right?
True.
It was like you knew where the weather fronts were, who was getting snow, what was going on, and what airport was going to get whatever, right? And I remember this was too long ago. There's a website called the Misery Index. I don't know if you've seen this. I'll look it up, Oliver, while you're telling me.
So I'm going to share something. Can you just put before you do? I just want to explain. Yeah. I've just found the meteorological map, the weather sort of cyclone map of the bomb cyclone that's coming in. So let me just share that.
Whoa. Is it really a bomb cyclone? What is it?
It is called a bomb cyclone.
Oh, Chris, Phil, your prediction is starting to feel like it's going to come true.
You could be there another week, but I'm just saying.
Okay, so let's put a little consulting bit in here. For those of you who are consultants and you don't know about this, I'm going to show you something. It's going to save your marriage, all of your relationships. Your kids will talk to you possibly again someday, down the road. This is called the FlightAware Misery Map. If you don't know about this, you really need to bookmark it right here. So this is a live look at the continental United States. And what they do is this takes information from the FAA, and it shows you the major hubs in the United States, and it overlays all of the weather. And then it'll show, for example, if you have the misfortune of flying through O'Hare for any reason, it'll show you the number of flights going. And then over on the right, if you can see, it'll show you how many delays and cancellations associated with that airport. And as you can see, bomb cyclone is currently over the Midwest, over your home state of Wisconsin area, and Minnesota also. So I mean, if you happen to be going to or from New York,
I am.
That's probably why you're stuck in Ohio, I'm guessing. Right?
Well, that's a passport issue, but then I'll have a weather issue. It appears soon.
Right.
So, Chris, let's zoom in on that cyclone picture. Let me do the share my.
Can you not see it? It's an app. It's not. Hold on. It's not. Wow. It's not behaving properly. I can't.
Yeah. Switch to my share. I think that'll help.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about this one?
Yeah,
is
that the bomb cyclone?
Yeah, that's the bomb cyclone.
That's a cyclone bomb.
Did Lenza AI create this?
Oh no, you guys!
Bigger! I said bigger, more windy.
So it's actually from the intersection. It's from the intersection conference. So Wendy and I both presented at intersection.
That's from intersection.
Yeah.
We're still looking at your screen, Chris.
I know. I still have it up because I just wanted to pretend like some use. So if you are a consultant and you don't know, you obviously need to be have FlightAware, and you need to be checking the Misery Map every Thursday morning if you are traveling to client sites. Which I thought it was interesting in our pre-roll with Richard Bliss. He mentioned he was talking about clients and going back to work and back to office and some things about that, which if you want to know what those things are, you should go watch the episode when it comes out. I don't know if it'll be out before this one or after. It doesn't matter. It's, non-addressed memory or de-addressed memory. It's all happening simultaneously. But what I was going to say is that he was talking about, the employment prospects in 2023 and some of the things that he was experiencing with his clients. I want to say, going from 180 flights a year down to 10 the past 3 years, 10 a year. And the first year of COVID, I don't think it was 10. I think it was probably a lot less than that. Right. But so my carbon footprint, Oliver, you're welcome. You're welcome, world. But no, what I was going to say is that, none of my clients are really back in their office. And in fact, the clients that I have that are not in manufacturing are like no office permanently. And they're actually divesting of commercial properties. And I know we've talked about a little bit about this, but the impact of this thing is just, we have not seen the bottom, I don't think, of it yet. I'm reminded of all of the folks that were my, Uber drivers. You get like the same Uber driver and you'd connect and he'd give you a discount if you used him directly and all. That's all gone, right? So what does that guy do, right? The wait staff and service industry personnel, right? Hospitality folks, right? That's a lot of that's gone. What do those folks do? How far does this trickle into the economy? I just don't see a bottom.
So
I don't know.
Chris, I've just got done recording the 2023 predictions.
Architecture tomorrow.
Talk about. Sorry,
architecture tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yep.
One of the things we talk about is permacrisis, because I think what we've just sort of seen is.
Did you say permacrisis?
Permacrisis. Word of the year. Collins Dictionary. Word of the year is permacrisis.
Is it? Huh.
And so I think what we're just facing is, one thing after another. That's just. I still don't feel like we've realised the shock of COVID, let alone. Energy prices are really hitting us, particularly here in Europe. I'm sure it's the same to a degree in the US as well. And now we were joking about it earlier, but like advanced AI, I think advanced AI could do for the knowledge economy and consulting for our consulting cats on the ground. Potentially it's going to be as disruptive for knowledge workers as say the printing, the industrial era was for industry. So it's.
You would liken Chat GPT to movable type? Is that what you're?
It's probably a little bit too extreme, and yes, I'm sure people will rip it to shreds. But I think it's a sign of the direction of travel. I mean, like a lot of people are overly. I mean, we talked about this a little bit on our live stream. People should go and check that extra bits recording out. But
that's only because I couldn't come up with a better name. It's not saying things extra bits.
You should have asked ChatGPT for a better name. But anyway,
damn it.
It's just a component of a whole suite of different models. Everyone is over-indexing on one particular model, the large language model. There's a whole host of really interesting models out there. And what's really crazy is when the thing that chooses the model. So at the moment, it's the human being that says, I'm going to use a large language model for this. Not that people know that that's what ChatGPT is, but I'm going to use Google search for this. I'm going to use my word processor for this. I'm going to use LinkedIn for that. I'm going to use ChatGPT for this. When the thing in the middle, the orchestrator, is also super smart and knows which one to choose, that's when we're in trouble.
So when the object request broker becomes an AI, we're screwed. Is that what you're saying?
At the moment, all the things are very narrow. They're very good at the one thing they do. As soon as you have the thing that goes, well, I know I need to use Bob widget.
I know where your news should come from.
That's. I mean, some people call that the singularity. I don't think that's what it will be. I think it will just be the knowledge worker.
Is it self-aware at that point, Oliver? Is it self-aware at that point, or is it still using like a evolved recommendation engine?
No, none of this stuff is self-aware. It's a mimic. Like large language, like Phil was saying earlier, it's a mimic of a small child. Really, it's ingested a huge volume of information. It's able to spout it back out because it's able to look for mathematical similarity between things. It's not self-aware, although it might fool someone into thinking it is, because it will be using human type text as input, and therefore us humans are self-aware, and therefore if it goes and asks about self-awareness, it's pulling on a pool of human material, so it's going to mimic what we have said to each other in the past or written in printed form. So what's really scary, I think, is when it starts to ingest video, and we've only just seen the start of deep fakes and stuff. I think I thought we'll get a bit of a pause in innovation. I think that in reality, given constraints, financial constraints, are going to force people to get very creative. I think next year, I think we're going to see a world of really weird and wacky stuff. Some of it's going to be like, wow. Some of it's going to be like, what the hell is this? So I think next year people will be under pressure to cut costs, to do things differently. But I think my prediction is we'll see some really interesting things coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
I heard someone say a couple weeks ago that they were looking at all this, and they said they thought that at some point in the near future, and I think this is Noam Bardim, the guy who's doing Post News, said something along the lines of, I think some significant percentage of all tweets will be written by Chat GPT.
Well, the thing that I read the other day is that right now is like a golden era in the internet, because up until ChatGPT came out, everything pretty much was generated by a person. All the text was human. They're now saying from now on, you won't be able to guarantee. I think one of you was saying earlier, won't be able to guarantee what's been human generated and what's been AI generated, and therefore we're now almost degrading the quality of our corpus, of our written material. So it's brave new world, in all honesty.
My question is, whose doorbell just rang, and do you have a package?
Sorry, that was mine, and I was muted. So I think that's I think this is an interesting thing for us to think about, and maybe a conversational topic for us in the future, because I think that's how can it assist us in what we're doing? How does it kind of act as a threat to what we're doing? If we're doing a SWOT analysis on this at the moment, what does that actually look like? Because I just think there's a lot to be done here, and it will keep getting better. We are, in fact, looking at a rough first draft of what this looks like. And, it's funny. I had beers on Friday with a few of my attorney friends, and I never got to this question, but I wanted to ask them, what do you think this looks like for you going forward? Because just as Oliver said, if you train it on a corpus of different materials, why could a Chat GPT trained on legal speak in the state in which you are living not formulate a pretty good contract, at least something to start with, 95% of it. And then you go through and a lawyer finishes it off. Why is it not going to look like that? And I don't know that it won't.
I mean, these things will pass the bar exam relatively easily, right? Because that's about reciting the right thing.
Because it's archival information, right? Is what you're talking about. And I think where Phil, where you're going is this thing is going to put the paralegal out of business, because it's going to write the dang brief, right?
Not the paralegal, because the paralegal's not doing that, but the actual attorney itself, who himself or herself who's putting this stuff together. And I think that is a particular profession we've thought for a long time was under threat. There's way too many attorneys in the world anyway. And what I mean by that is there are more attorneys than the world needs at any given moment. So it's hard for them to maintain their salary levels, et cetera, because it's a marketplace and there's just a lot of people doing this kind of work. And it's not, for most stuff, it's not particularly hard work, right? So I think there's a lot of folks in that space. But, Chris, you brought up the point the other day about somebody using it to generate PowerPoints.
Yeah.
I'm using it for really lightweight presentations already, not to do the meat of the thing, but to give me background graphics and stuff like that. But I could very much see, okay, just give me the bullet points on this thing, and then I'll look at it and say I like it or I don't like it, and I'll go back and write it and make it fill. But the thing is, at some point, would something not have read enough Phil to know how to be Phil when they needed him?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, so in my mind, where I was going with that when I posted it on LinkedIn about AI being, by the way, I think it was Reddit, maybe somewhere I saw.
Yeah, it was Reddit. It was Reddit.
Was it Reddit? And
you posted a link to Reddit.
Yeah. And someone had posted about leveraging these technologies to basically generate their presentation for them. And it was rough, and some of it was weird as F, right?
Yeah.
But you can delete those slides, and by and large, the rest of the narrative made sense. And so my point was, that's the process of constructing a narrative, if it can be done automatically like that, and it can be done well. PowerPoint's days were numbered. I think, or something
Yeah, that was
know,
kind of where that thing was. But the thing is, I've watched. So we think that's relatively simple, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen people who've generated entire videos, right, where
Yeah.
they're doing it section by section by section. And I don't mean like a PowerPoint video like we might do for a client as a consultant, or something. But people who are doing narrative videos, storytelling videos.
How about movies? Why not movies?
That's what I meant. As a movie, they were doing a short form movie, right? A short, and it was like, this is pretty good. And I get that, it's the talking pig thing. It's amazing the pig talks. Not that it was really smart, but the pig talked.
Right.
And pretty soon we're going to ask it good questions and get good answers. And that's going to be pretty interesting. And where do we go from there?
Something going on with my hand, a little Bing Crosby look right there.
I'm dreaming of a white
so
Christmas.
what I was going to go with, though, on the thread, and I got distracted and posted something else, was, I've known people over the years, and in fact, one of the firms I worked for about 10 years ago, for those who want to go look at my timeline and figure out what firm it is.
I'm going to pull them up on LinkedIn.
Had acquired a German firm of engineers, and they brought with them a series of automated tool sets for PowerPoint. So a simple thing that you could click a button and align every page number on every slide if it wasn't part of the master template. You could click a button and it would make every font in every title on the entire presentation the same font, the same size, right? That sort of thing. And so it was extraordinarily useful, right, for those 200 slide decks, where if you're the engagement manager and you're like, it's 3 a.m, but I got to review this before, the partner sees it or whatever it might be. And I got to go through everything. No, you just push a button and do it all for you, right? Now they're just like, what's the freaking Microsoft language? I'm sorry, I'm from the late 1900s.
VBA.
Thank you. Yeah.
VBA. Look at that.
Right. Visual
I
Basic.
shudder slightly when I say it.
Yeah, it was Visual Basic, right? But it was embedded as a tool in the ribbon in PowerPoint, right? So you click a button, and every box you could select, like, make every box like this on every slide in the deck, right? That matches this standard, and it would go through and it would do all that. So useful functions, right? Fast forward, right, a number of years, and I knew some folks that were able, because there is, yes, the hardest part of a PowerPoint deck is the narrative, in my view, right? And saying the right thing in a concise way to communicate your message and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of the busy work associated with it are the visuals and all of the, how do I take raw data and make it a compelling visual, right, in the PowerPoint deck? Someone I know had created a series, and I don't know if it must have been Visual Basic. That's the only thing I can assume, that would take stuff in Excel, almost like a pivot table or something like that, right? And it would generate slides based off of the data that was in Excel. And so my point is this is not a new use case, right? This is an old use case. Work smart, not hard, right? Mm-hmm. And so the idea that now I could just simply ask Alexa to generate, she stopped listening to me for some reason. I could ask Alexa to generate my PowerPoint for me or whatever. I think that's an interesting concept. And does it, as I said, put PowerPoint out of business? Maybe it does, but how powerful could that be for the consulting industry, right? To be able to say,
I'd go further than PowerPoint, Chris.
Well, well, take all this data that's in the data warehouse in Snowflake, or take all this crap that someone is translating into Tableau or Power BI, take all of that. I don't need a dashboard anymore, right? Generate on the fly and stick it in my contact lens so I can see the whatever, right? Those days are not that far away.
But what about this podcast? You're going to have to go and edit, right?
Well, absolutely. I have to take out at least an hour's worth of content.
Alexa, edit out the boring parts. It's 8 minutes.
And I'm not in it at all. At that no. Actually, let's talk. Oh,
it did mine too, by the way. Mine responded.
Alexa, why are you responding to me?
I like this. I love seeing Oliver's turn on.
Awesome.
But along that line, I have something that I thought would be a good edit. I just want to maybe I can share this. If I can bring this up here. This was you may recognize this one if you've seen it.
Hopefully, Chris can edit out my complete brain fog moment. Sorry about that.
I love this one.
Yeah. No, I think the. That's I'm going to blame COVID. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and my brain is sometimes a bit foggy.
So that's the kind of thing that not only
Just
do
glad I'm not
I.
wearing the same shirt.
I love
Are
that.
you
moment.
really?
I'm not wearing the same shirt. I'm glad. I'm
Okay,
not.
good.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, yeah. So AI can help with that kind of thing. But I mean,
Sure.
that and that I wish I could have found. I will go back and I will find the Shashi clip, Phil, and I will insert it, and it'll all
Yeah.
appear as if it was meant to. It was all queued
So
up.
one
and
more
ready to go.
tool, by the way, I don't think you're using, but it's just amazing if you've not played with it yet at all. Just to is Descript, and using Descript for video editing is just shocking. And so instead of like, and Chris does a lovely job, I think, of putting all the graphics, all
Thank
that
you.
stuff in there. Descript instead takes the whole thing and treats it as though it were a script. And so basically you look at the script and say, well, I want to get rid of this whole section of someone talking.
Wow.
And it just collapses it out. You're actually reading through their script, deleting those words out. You're saying, Oliver's talking about this, but I would like to have a graphic over top of him because watching his face talk, I can only do that for so many seconds. And then I want the audience to see something more interesting. He's talking about France, or he's talking about whatever. Let's just include a video of it. And you go tag, include, and it's got clip art video, and you just click it in and lay it on top of it. But I mean, from an editing standpoint, and I'm using it for some of our stuff. So example, one of the things is, I'll take someone submits to me a 10-minute video of them talking, and they're not an accomplished speaker, and they use a lot of filler words and stuff like that. I can just say, go through and grab all the filler out of it and just drink it. And it's like, I took someone, they went from a 10-minute video to an 8.5-minute video by just taking out the filler words in what they said. And I'm like, holy cow.
But it's not going to be long, surely, before this. I mean, Descript's great, and one of my marketing colleagues use it. But think about the fact that you can go into that script and go, "Oh, I wish I'd said that," and deepfake will just fill that in as if you did.
No, it's built into the script already. You can train the language model and have it fill back in your own text.
It's audio only, right? It's not video. It's audio.
That's correct. I'm sorry. Yeah. That part is audio only.
Yeah. But it's only a matter of
time. You
time.
can, in fact, say, I wish I'd said this instead of that. And
that's only a matter of computing power. That's all.
I agree.
The only difference.
I agree. There. It's just a matter of time.
Just don't move left or right too much in your video. Yeah.
Exactly.
no.
But I mean, so just Oliver, the way it does it is amazing.
Oliver, I thought that was charming brain.
I loved the brain fog moment. I loved it. And it was super funny that it was a moment. I loved it.
It was
Don't
great.
change.
That's how we knew you were human.
Yeah.
I freaked out because I thought you put it in the cold open, but you put it at the end.
No,
so I
put it at the end.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that to you. What is that? What was that? Was that ATEM? Is that your ATEM?
That's Wendy saying I love that.
Perfect. Phil does too. Wish I had that little graphic.
So what is this episode about? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Oh wait, this is us talking about Chris. Here we go. This is us talking about Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Chris.
Thank you so much.
But the further we get out on this technology, and Oliver, when you said this really resonated, like we've just had the golden age of the internet where it all came from humans and we could trust that. And Phil, even you saying, well, I can feed it in, I can get this back, and I can make it sound like Phil. Like, just think about the generations that only now know this world and the things they have to, like, they don't have a voice to edit out. Like, just trying to picture people showing up in this world and weeding all through of it, it's just fascinating topic to me. And the further we get out there with technology, the more important the human stuff is. Because if you're angry, whatever your beliefs are, like whatever your values are, it's only going to magnify that. And it's reflecting our own words back to us.
So will it get to a point where the authentic human voice is like a classic car with a V8 and that, has a 5.6 liter engine and, consumes freedom juice, right? Like, is it going to get to a point? That was for Oliver. See, is it going to get to a point where it's like, to your point, right? the folks using these tools have never had to do it themselves. So therefore, they don't know how to do it. And so if you do know how to do it, you are like Clark Gable, or I don't know, you're classic, right? You're a classic.
I'm already saying that there's a lot of people, particularly in tech, that are microwave meal warmers rather than chefs.
Microwave meal warmers.
Wow.
I love that.
Wow.
They can pop a dinner meal, whatever it's called, a TV dinner meal.
That was a hot pocket of wisdom from Oliver Cronk.
It's really good. They have hot pockets in the UK.
You know what a hot pocket is?
It's like a pastry filled with different fillings.
It's like a Cornish pasty, but it comes in a plastic wrap.
Yeah.
Cornish pasty. Yeah.
You wash it down with an iron brew, and then you.
Still the wrong country.
That's a different part of the country. That's Scotland.
Oh, shit, whatever.
Wrong country.
Whatever.
I was with you. I loved you doing that, though. I thought I would be the only cat to pull that off. But yes, Cornish pasty in a plastic bag. Which,
by the way, the iron brew in Scotland is better. The iron brew here is like some fake crap.
Really?
And the reason is because we have outlawed the particular dye that is in the iron brew.
Chris loves red dye number 4. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's like orange something or other, and that
you haven't outlawed a whole load of other stuff the FDA's approved, but yeah.
Let's not go into the FDA approved it. Oh well, it's perfectly safe, right? I don't know what we're talking about.
Taco shops. We're talking about tacos. Oh no, we didn't make it a taco yet.
Wendy, I feel
the script is where I came from.
I feel like Wendy is not drinking, so she's sort of like, how long do I have to?
She's the smart one.
Oh my God,
this is just an endurance test.
Oh gosh.
Wait, show that picture again. Just show the picture, Wendy, again. I mean, that's.
I don't have it up.
Oh, thank God! Please don't.
I was about to say you will when we put the picture up again, but that's probably going to.
It was just so awesome. I was off working on a thing. I come back. I pull up LinkedIn.
It was striking, right?
That's Phil's imitation of me. This is not good.
It was all Wendy, and I was like, "Oh my God,
Wendy!"
I want that 16 by 20.
I did have a question for you. Not that we don't have any more awards because we didn't really think this. Oh wait, was that it, Oliver?
Yeah, I am.
Does this qualify? Is this bullying? If we do this, is this
bullying?
Whoa!
Wow!
Did you Photoshop that real quick, Oliver, to give it a nice background?
No, it's from the Intersection website.
They photoshopped it horribly.
Yeah.
I was going to criticize the Photoshop.
That's not big enough. I'm just saying we can make that bigger.
Oh my God!
There you go. It's getting better. I'll press the F button on my screen. Oof! Even more Wendy. This is like life size. This is it. This is the real deal here. Wendy, I feel like I'm talking directly to you.
I was actually going to ask you a legitimate question. Oh yes, now I remember.
Yes.
So listen, 2022 for you has been a year of, I mean, let's be honest, far more success than any of the rest of us have had. Right?
No.
Phil's working on his 4th marriage.
Not yet.
Linda's, had enough of his crap.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. Come on.
No, Oliver, I think you've had COVID like 3 or 4 times this year.
Oh.
This is his 8th time. 8th time.
I bookended. I think I had it in January, and I got it again in like autumn. So
you had man flu one time. I remember now. That's right. Yeah. So where I was going with this is, I think Wendy, you have had the most successful year out of the 4 of us, right?
I think so.
And I mean, your book, your business, by the way, and for those of you who don't know, you've been named to the board of Fast Company.
Exactly.
I mean, that's freaking huge, right? What we had a president or somebody.
She owns it now.
It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
That's why we tease you, Wendy, because we're jealous of your success.
No, that's clearly what it is. How do you top that in 2023? Can you top this year in 2023? What are you going to do to top it? You're running like 6 businesses. You're on, you're going to be on the cover of Time. I'm pretty sure here. for the Woman of the Year? Are you up for Woman of the Year?
Oh my God,
Nobel
this is so over
Prize?
the top. It couldn't be
Where do
funnier.
you go? Where do you go from here? It's crazy, this success.
Whoa.
It's all deserved. By the way, I don't mean to demean or minimize it in any way whatsoever. And we will not show your big head picture again.
That's awesome.
But no, but you have had a really, really good year. And I'm just wondering, like, how do you top that?
Wow. Well,
What are you planning?
no, it's a beautiful question. I love it. I have to say, wow, maybe this is just because
I mean, consultants saying things. I mean, obviously, but you know.
Of course. I mean, this is a good question, and it's very enticing to me because I'm a journey person. What's next? Bigger. I mean, so I have ultramarathons and mountains on my mind, but I have to say,
Iditarod. Do you think you should do the Iditarod?
Wait, did I ever tell this to you?
Are you going to
already
an
done
Iditarod
that.
story?
There's a number of distances on the Iditarod Trail.
Yes, I know. I know a lot about the Iditarod. Now wait just a damn minute, Wendy Keene.
I feel like I could do 100K, but I gotta, on the Iditarod Trail. That would, because there's
when I went to Alaska over the summer with my kid, we met did I tell you? I think I told you this. Didn't I tell you this?
No.
In fact, I think I have her book right over here somewhere. I met the first woman to have climbed Mount Everest and to have completed the Iditarod. Right?
Whoa! Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Pause.
okay,
Pause. I'm going to cut this because I got to go get her book and her name.
Wow. Phil.
This is my new profile picture on LinkedIn. I'm changing my profile picture on LinkedIn. It's like we can all. Ich bin ein Wendy Keene.
Oh no!
This is utterly going downhill, and I love it.
All right. Okay,
Wait.
we'll pretend like that never happened.
Chris didn't see this. Wait. Here we go.
I did. I
bin
saw it.
ein Wendy Keene. Oh, you did see it. Sorry.
It's your new profile picture.
That is it. That's it.
So when I was in Alaska with my kid over the summer, I met the first woman to climb Summit Everest and complete the Iditarod. And I just happened to have her book right here, just for this moment. Cindy Abbott.
Ooh.
And what's fascinating about Cindy Abbott, she signed it for me. What's fascinating?
You
about
owe me
Cindy
money,
Abbott,
Cindy Abbott. That's what it says.
Cindy Abbott.
Please buy the book pay for the book when you can.
That's right.
Right.
So what's fascinating about this woman is she was a teacher in the California State Education University system, and she got diagnosed with some stupidly rare terminal condition, and but it took like 20 years for them to figure out what it was. And so when she summited Everest, she was like, I may not live, right? So I'm going to go summit Everest. Never climbed a mountain before,
Well,
right? Had to complete summiting on several different continents before she could get a guide, right, to take her up Everest, and almost didn't make it. Ran out of medicine, right? Like the story is incredible. It's called "Reaching Beyond the Clouds" by Cindy Abbott.
wow.
Right there. Fantastic book, and the woman is amazing. And then once she did that, it was like, well, I'm still alive. What am I going to do now? Well, I guess I got to go do the Iditarod, right? So she moved to Alaska and within 2 years, having never done Iditarod before, was like one of the first women to, if not, no, it's the first woman, I believe, to complete the Iditarod or finish in the top 10 or whatever it is, right? So it's like high honor. And so meeting this woman, and what is she doing now? She's raising sled dogs, right?
Wow.
And amazing woman, so humble about her life experience. And it's just, so when I think of women that I've met that have exceeded anything that I could have imagined, like, could you imagine climbing Everest, let alone with a painful, life-threatening condition, right? But I think of you, Wendy Keene, on the successes
She's
that
next.
you've had.
Wow.
You're
I want to
next.
do that.
And if you're telling me that you're going to do the Iditarod, that's
No,
nuts.
to be clear, I want to run on the Iditarod Trail. I can make 100K.
Oh, well,
And it
shit.
goes up
Then
to like
ignore
30.
everything I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No,
but you
no,
also
but
buy
that's okay.
Cindy Abbott's book because she's fantastic.
I'd like to climb Everest too. So great. I'm inspired.
Would you
But,
like to climb Everest?
I it's always one of those like, oh, do you not? It's sort of out there for me.
Yeah.
It's a different commit, but I'm working on the path to maybe make an option.
So is there another book in 2023, or like what is your plan?
There is not another. Well, I am contributing to a book, but not another book, because this book still has a lot of conversation around it. It's like that's my biggest goal, is to get it in the hands it's meant to be in, have the right conversations around it, and I realized how tremendously passionate I am about moving into action on it.
And by the way, which book are we talking about? Oh no, that's not it. That's The People Problem by Chris Lockhart. No, we are talking about.
Great conversation. Let's make the conversation about themselves, Chris.
We're talking about strategy to reality.
Tragedy to reality.
Tragedy to reality.
Strategy to reality.
Strategy to reality.
Mine's on the Kindle. So
come
it's not
on.
as impressive to look.
You guys.
Which look, it came out a couple months back, right? Yeah, right.
September.
But I mean, every time I log into LinkedIn, like every time, there are notifications where someone has mentioned Wendy Keene, and it's not because. Let me dip. Many times it's because of they're reviewing your book or have read your book or are pulling some nugget of information out of your book. In other words, my point is, it has legs. And to your point about there's conversation around it, I think that's 100% true, right? In fact, there's almost more buzz about it now than when it came out.
Yeah.
I think it's still building. It's really lovely, Wendy, to watch. I mean, I'm noticing the same thing Chris is doing, is that every time I walk in, it's like, oh my God, that Wendy Keene, she's everywhere all the time, which of course we're delighted for you. But I mean, that's good for you. And I'm glad to see people care and are engaging with the material and are reading it and are reviewing it. And brava to you, brava.
Thank you. But I do have to say, I feel like this journey has, it's brought me even more back to such basics, how much I care about the people and the ideas. I serve a global vision and community every day when I wake up. And I'm there. Like, so what's next? Like, to me, baking ideas, but it's the biggest possible impact that we can make, all of us, from our seat. That's what's next for me. And I will never forget, I've been touched to the core about just the people who cared about the ideas or supported me, and all of you. That's really I'm just so humbled. That's my big takeaway for the year. So what's next? I'll dream big, but it's got to be stuff that matters,
You're going to the moon, aren't you? You're the first woman to go to the moon, aren't you? Come on.
That's my secret. That's right.
That's the book you're working on.
The book, on my trip to the moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Artemis 3. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Oliver, I had the same question for you. I mean, while not nearly as successful as Wendy, obviously.
Probably not. One can dream. One can dream.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry. That was me. That's not how
I mean, Oliver, after a disappointing 2022, what's next for you?
A lot of alcohol, a lot of crying, a lot of pain.
Wait, having invested your entire family fortune in FTX, what are you going to do now?
Well, that's one thing I am proud of, is never jumping on the crypto bandwagon.
I'm glad I never bought an NFT. I thought about it.
I've never done it.
How am I going to do with this? What the hell am I going to do with 100 images of myself dressed as an action figure?
I can do the Bored Ape thing without anybody else's help.
So what's 2023 looking for you?
Yeah,
for Crunky.
So I mean, look,
Oliver. God, I'm going to get this wrong. Was it Saint? It's not Saint. Is it Saint John? Is Saint John in there? No. What are your middle names again?
Paul.
Your Belgian great grandfather.
Belgian great grandfather is Camille.
Camille.
Oh,
Saint Paul. Camel.
That's how the story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've discovered actually? It's interesting, slightly interesting side note on Camille. I was watching a brilliant program on BBC about electric cars and all the technologies that have kind of been developed to make them happen. And it turns out that there was a Belgian racing driver who held the world land speed record for a while in an electric vehicle. Sorry, he raced electric cars. Sorry, and he was called Camille. And
Of course, it would be a
won.
Belgian, wouldn't it?
He was a Belgian electric car racer, and they used to race. Electric cars actually used to be a big thing back in the day, and then Ford Motor
And then they
Company
went
came along
away.
and made
And
Model T. And
if you follow the subreddit r conspiracy theory, I've just made that up. But there is the whole thing about like the electric engine and why didn't it go where it should have. And
well, it's a great. Maybe I'll post the link in the chat when this goes out. But no, on a more serious note, and actually staying on the sort of theme, I suppose, of sustainability, which I've touched on before. That's going to be a big thing for me next year. I'm wanting to pivot Architect Tomorrow to be about sustainability in the round, not just green and carbon, but the broader picture we've talked about a little bit before. I'm kind of properly bedded in at my new place at Scott Logic, and that's going really, really well. So leading on sort of the implementation of tech strategy there, and one of the big themes of it is technology. Sorry, is sustainable technology. So I'm leading on that, and there's going to be a fair amount of AI. So I'm really fortunate in that a lot of people are talking about large language models. I'm actually working with clients on that technology right now, and like, how do you make it do useful things? How do you put guardrails around it? How do you stop it doing stupid stuff? So I'm really lucky to be working in a firm that's at the kind of cutting edge of that stuff, as well as a whole range of different things. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you have at your fingertips your, I'm going to call it, you can thank me later, your signature diagram?
Oh, let me see. Yeah, well,
and you know exactly what I'm talking about. See how perfect that title is, and you can use it. I will diagram, your signature picture.
So yeah, the picture's
come
down quite well.
I think, and I think this explains exactly the things that you're talking about. You have it. Oh,
let me share it.
Can we go to camera 2?
Hang on.
You don't want to bring up the wrong browser tab there, Oliver.
Yes.
The browser tab with all the pictures of Wendy. Yeah.
Sorry, one sec. I mean, I'm sorry. 1 sec.
Check that out.
Awesome. None.
Awesome. Oh, crap! You weren't kidding. You weren't kidding. Wait, come
How much Wendy Keene is there? There's lots. There's not enough, but there's lots.
He's lying. It's his desktop. That's what it is. It's not
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyways.
Your signature diagram, which I think
this is
perfect.
This is one of the pictures. I think I'll evolve it again next year. The other one I'm working on is more the kind of if you think about the phases of a technology project or a technology initiative, where are the kind of points you need to insert.
Awesome.
Best use of a Venn diagram. I'm serious, by the way. I'm serious. And for those people that might be listening, and you asked us ahead of time if it was complete. I felt privileged to be part of you creating this diagram. Oh. Don't burst my bubble. Were we the only
No, you were really helpful.
Liar.
Fair enough.
That's the deep fake. I knew it. That's ChatGPT answer.
No. No, in all seriousness, it was helpful because where we started the conversation about trains and sustainability arguments, it was useful to have someone who isn't in the
hates trains
circles on the right hand side, but someone who is kind of could be persuaded. And it was really cool the conversations we had around.
I'm not
looking at the other levers.
I'm not against the green circle, just to be clear, not at all. I just don't want to eat bugs or meat grown in a lab.
Hey guys, I gotta hop.
That's kind of
I have real work to do, says Wendy Keene.
Don't worry,
she's got another photo shoot.
No, don't call.
We will just pop a picture of Wendy in the corner.
It can just be there. Carry on.
All right, so 2 minutes. So Oliver, you're going to best use Venn diagram by a cast member. So you're going to evolve this then in 2023.
I'm going a level deeper, really, and talking about the phases of a technology project and where the thinking needs to change.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this is going. So yeah, look, I'm sure maybe we should revisit sustainability. I think for sure we should talk about AI in the new year, but I think we should revisit. Maybe we should talk about sustainable technology. We talked about sustainability consulting in general, but perhaps that's one we can think about at some point next year.
So I know, Wendy, you have to go, and that is terrible for us on our side of oh.
So it's got the wrong name though, Phil. At least rename yourself.
Phil Yanoff, you have changed your persona.
Sorry, that's an old picture of me.
Wendy, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being part of this, whatever this is. And I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to having more interesting conversations in 2023. And I know the people that watch this program are going to love it. Everything you have to say is through the roof, top of the charts, top of the pops, as they might say. And so really looking forward to 2023. Thank you so much.
You guys are awesome. So grateful for
I hope you get out of Ohio.
Happy holidays. Me too.
Yeah, good luck, Wendy.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for being a good egg. It's been fun playing with you this year.
Likewise. Really appreciate you guys in every way.
Now let her go. I got to talk to Phil, and I think I know what he's going to do in 2023. Well, I did not send her away. She just disconnected.
Well, she probably needed to go. To be fair.
Yeah, she did. We were over her time. She's like, she's here.
There's still Wendy Keene is here.
Actually,
she's still here.
Hold on. No, put her back up.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. She's with us.
We can
Phil
keep
has
Wendy
multiple
Keene,
cameras.
even if she's not correctly named. I got the multicam thing going. Look at that.
Actually, hold
That's
on.
so
Let me
cool being
let me
able to pull it
reposition.
off,
There we go. Okay. So Phil, 2023. Talk to us about 2023. Are you going to crack the top 10 most influential people in? Isn't that top 50?
No.
What is that?
That's top 50 in Greenville, right?
Oh,
That's that thing.
Top 5? You're going to crack. You should be number 1. Everybody I talk to wants to know Phil Yanoff. And when I say I know you,
that's nice.
You don't know how much play that gets me. That gets me into places I can't get into if I just show up as me. I'm telling you right now.
Nice. I like it. There's just so much fun. The thing is, I am really in that mode right now of trying to decide what's 2023, how's it going to look different than 2022, and what do we want to do more of, and what are we going to do less of. And I've had some really cool things happening over the last few years, and I've managed to create a global footprint that I didn't have before. So I think we're going to lean into that some more in some ways that we haven't done in the past. And so I'm going to do more. I mean, we're working on a thing with the Aspen Institute. I think that would be really cool to pull that off this year. So I'm hoping that I can make something happen with that. We've got some really cool things going on in Athens. We'll see where that goes. And that is Greece,
not Athens, Georgia.
Not Athens, Georgia. Right. But we got some cool things going on. And of course, we're recording podcasts and doing webinars and stuff like that. So I think I just think we're having a lot of fun, and we continue to grow this audience. So I'm just interested in talking to more people.
To help you out, I've renamed you in the
nice. We're all Wendy Keene now. Ich bin ein Wendy Keene. I'm just gonna say
but what I think is fascinating about what you do, right? And again, I think I can say this. I'll bleep it out. I am not shitting you when I say what people
bleeping. I'm not bleeping.
There we go. Wait, hold on.
Oh, we're all Wendy Keene. That is Ich bin ein Wendy Keene.
Okay.
Oh, I love this. Hold on a second. I want a screenshot of this one. Hold on. Ready? There we go.
Wait, one more time.
Oh, wait. Okay. All right. One more time. Hold on a second.
Nice.
Look at the camera when I do this.
All right. Well, listen. Same thing to you, man. You have been my friend for a lot of years, and I appreciate you putting up with a lot of bullshit, really, from me. So that's good. Yeah.
Are we all good? We're all good.
In fact, I wouldn't have this cigar smoking jacket if it wasn't for you, to be perfectly honest.
I did that. I am a man of bad habits.
No, this is known as the Red Dragon, by the way, if anyone's interested.
No longer available. It's bespoke at this point.
It is bespoke. But listen, thank you, friend. Appreciate it for being here.
Yeah, man.
Oliver,
Happy
as I always appreciate you whenever we disagree on trains or and diagrams or whatever it might be.
Planes, automobiles.
Yeah. Oh, there she's back. And Wendy left us already because she has more important things to do, which, let's be honest,
Shouldn't we
makes a
all?
lot of sense.
And Chris, you do a lot of the talking for us, but can I just say we appreciate you as well. A lot of we pull your leg. We pull your leg about the planning, but you always pull together a planning doc, and you eventually get the Zoom invite over to us. It's all good. No, thank you, dude. It's great to be part of this. It's good fun.
Listen, in 2023, I think we continue to evolve this because I mean, this is crackerjack, right? This is top notch. I think intellect on this program, and I enjoy every minute of it, and I enjoy editing these things, and I, believe it or not, I watch like every minute of everything because there's so much good stuff in here that never sees the light of day, right?
I want to say I agree with you entirely, right? I mean, you always send me notes, particularly when you're drunk and editing this thing at like small hours of the day. But it's like there is a bunch of good stuff here, and I think you're doing an excellent job of pulling that together and making something credible out of it. And I really do appreciate that because there's a lot of me just being a knucklehead, or I don't want to say Oliver being a knucklehead because he's not that kind of person, but me, I can do that, right? But the thing is, I think it's just you're pulling it together, making it a coherent story, and just doing a lovely job with it. So thank you for what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing what comes next.
Listen, boys,
and cheers.
And listen, boys and girls. Well, I have no drink left because I drank it all. Happy Christmas, Oliver. Merry Christmas, Phil.
Happy Christmas.
I don't know what they say in Norway, but whatever they say, we should say that to Wendy the next time we see her.
Slancha.
They probably don't say that, but that's a good answer too. Listen, everybody who is still here watching this, I don't know what's going on. I appreciate everyone watching the show, and thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. 2023 is going to be an interesting year, and we'll see what interesting consulting topics it brings. Thank you very much.
Super.
See you next time.